back with another module here in Baltimore, Maryland. By the way, this is my first time in Baltimore. I love Baltimore. It's really cool.
Great city.
And we are at Lucky Leaf and Demitri from MITA Unshackled with our co-host.
Tom from Cannabis Legalization News on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts.
He brings out we had like an ESPN game day feel going for us. And he really brings that out, that
I do not watch ESPN. I like money. And so like instead of watching I watch CNBC in the morning and I'm just like, this is just ESPN for people who like money. And say like they had Squawk Box and stuff like that.
I love it. So we are pleased to be rejoined by Lake and Malvina, who were here early in the day yesterday. But what you have here at Lucky Leaf is you have hundreds and hundreds of people from Maryland, industry professionals gathered, talking about the industry, talking about the license structure, talking about the social equity activity, learning, sharing, teaching, reading regulations and stuff. So they've rejoined us for another module today to discuss the insights that they've gathered in the last 24 hours, which is pretty cool. So I'm hoping that you guys found something like the golden ticket somewhere or something magical that you can share with the social equity community out there. So who wants, reintroduce yourselves and then who wants to go first?
Awesome. Well, Malvina, how much?
Thank you. Malvina K. I am Dope CFO, certified advisor. I've been working with the cannabis community for a little over about 2 years. We've been here with training and giving information out about what you need to really have knowledge about in order to start your business.
Awesome. Thank you, Malvina. So yeah, once again, Lake Smith with QCI Solutions, based out of California, but born and bred here in Maryland. My business partner and I, we focus on fractional regulatory compliance support, along with business and strategic leadership. So we assist businesses and SEA applicants specifically here in Maryland with everything they need to get their businesses established. So ideally, we'll help work on their application. We are, very cost effective for those individuals. And then we provide them the business strategy and the tips and the resources and tools that I think we've kind of picked up and learned that a lot of social equity applicants here in Maryland may need. So, a lot of insights. It's been a great experience, and our firm's just here to help.
Okay, so here's a question. Your son or your daughter is the audience, and they want to know the magic trick, the secrets. What is the most insightful stuff that you've learned here about the social equity program and what's happening in Maryland?
Well, I've learned that Maryland is being very fair with the whole social equity process, which is a good thing. I've also learned that there are a lot of people that are ready to reach out and help social equity businesses become successful. And that's a big plus because you have to think of it as running a business. And the extra pressure that's on is that not only do you have to run it as a business, but there are special tax rules, compliance rules that only pertain to the cannabis business. So you can't just walk into any accounting firm and think that you're going to get serviced. They have to be knowledgeable about 280E and the impacts of that on your business.
Exactly. No, that's very correct. And from the regulatory compliance side, understanding the kind of patchwork framework of regulations where you have state regulations, local jurisdictions, maybe there's even a municipality within that has its own regulations. How do you sift through that? Those are the challenges, because to Malvina's point, Maryland has done a great job establishing a good framework for social equity applicants, but the reality is social equity applicants, they at times struggle to, raise capital, have certain, business strategies and acumen put together. So that's where our firms come in. We want to help with your planning, your business planning, your diversity planning, your operational planning, helping you understand the regulations, whether that's tax framework, regulatory compliance, and just, how do you position yourself in the right way? Because a lot of times it's, our business stands for quality, consistency, integrity, and consistency, that consistent message. How do you message your business? How are you speaking to the public? Is your application and your business plan all in line? That consistency across the board and that continued quality and assurance, that's what's really going to, help social equity applicants out. And, we're meeting a lot of good, interesting people here, great insights, a lot that we can do to help as well.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think that's really the thing that when they're getting into this space, and they're eligible as social equity applicants, and they roll the dice and they get into the lottery and then they win. And it took me a few months to get my legs under me.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of regulatory hurdles that you're getting into, like you're like, but I've sold weed before. Yeah, you sold weed without a scintilla of evidence that you did it. It's like, yeah, I know, I didn't want to get caught. That's right. You didn't. What was your record keeping policy? There ain't no
Exactly.
records.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
policy.
Yep.
And now it's no, you need to keep accurate books, like to the letter, because the IRS is going to watch you like a hawk in this industry.
Exactly.
And then you have the regulators watching you like a hawk. So with that consistency, that is extremely important, because that consistency helps with compliance, which are rules that if you don't follow, that license can get taken away.
Exactly. And just imagine seed to sale. They are tracking a tiny seed all the way to when it's purchased as cannabis, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And there's software out there that's doing it that you've got to tie to your accounting system.
Exactly. But at the way we look at it, sorry, Dimitri, at the end of the day, though, you're always going to have software, but you need people, you know,
Exactly.
like Tom's firm, like our firm, to help out sift through the regulations, to be that reassurance, because technology may spit out something, you may have regulations translated to you, but you want that human reassurance, and that's what we are here for.
Exactly.
And amendments. That's the other. This is a brand new law with brand new regulations.
Yeah.
And they aren't right. And so they're going to figure out that, oh, we've got to change these, and there'll be an amendment next year. And like they've changed the definition of social equity in my state, which is only a 4-year-old program, 3 times. So they may change the definition of what they define as social equity in this state, or they may change different rules, because right now it's all in theory, but as that theory becomes a process, because more people are getting operational, they'll be like, oh, oops, we should change that. And so you also need somebody on your team for that ongoing regulatory compliance, because what the rules are today may not be the rules in 3 years.
Exactly.
You know, so they've taken all the fun out of the legacy market. They've taken all the,
Taking all the fun out of weed, man.
yeah, they've taken all the fun out of weed. But it's okay. It's a new world. It's Prohibition 2.0, Drug War 2.0, civil and criminal sanctions, etc. But give the social equity applicants hope.
Yeah.
Tell us why this is such a business-wise, what you see in Maryland, like strategically, why it's such a good idea to get involved. Because there's a lot of people out there, you know, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to pay taxes. I don't like to do permits. I don't like to follow regulations. That's why I got into cannabis. So I'm out. But they should be in, because this is the real
100%.
world. The real world.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like the real world, but he does.
one thing I would mention is, I mean, unfortunately, this is America, where there's rules and regulations and red tape and bureaucracy. But our objective, our goal, is to try to make it fun. We're gonna make the complex simple. We're gonna give you the strategies to position your business the right way. We're gonna help you sift through the regulatory compliance. We're gonna submit an application that actually works. Yes, there are a lot of steps. It is an onerous process, but that's what firms like us are here for, to
Yeah.
assist in that, to make it more fun.
Exactly. And you should love what you do.
Yes.
And, you know, with the estimates of billions of dollars for the state of Maryland in terms of sales by 2027, that's a huge market. And the cannabis market is continuing to grow. So you can be successful in this business.
And by the way, my family shipped from San Diego and Tucson to Boston in the 90s, cannabis illegally. And then we actually worked in the industry between 2012 and 2016 very actively as operators, and then sold. So you can do that stuff. You can make the transition.
You can go from legacy to legal.
Exactly.
So
And
technically, we went from legacy to legal.
And I like the way you guys put it, legacy to legal, because, you know, there's black market, white market, illicit market. These are arbitrary definitions that are put upon the plant, the cannabis plant that's here for all of us. And we all have a passion for that plant. We have a passion for helping.
Yes.
And I think that's just what we want to bring to the table. And social equity applicants that are watching this, we're all here to help.
Exactly.
It may seem difficult, but we are here to help.
Okay, so you guys are experts in the industry. You guys have been around for a while. What did you learn in the last 24 hours that you did not know prior to coming to Lucky Leaf? Who wants to go first? I've learned so much.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you
Yeah.
want to go first?
Tom, I've learned that you are a great speaker. Okay.
Our play-by-play announcer
Yes.
here.
No, I just like listening to him. I feel like I'm
I
like
mean,
in
it's
a
very simple.
movie or something.
Yeah.
It's like Charlton Heston or something.
You know, it's a curse.
It is. It does that. And now, welcome to the second half of the film.
Right.
Now,
That's-
what? Oh, sorry. Go. Yeah.
I
It's
learned
about you
so
guys.
much. Like, one of the things that I learned in the past 24 hours is they're going to make an algorithm for determining how the lottery works. I had no idea about that
Okay.
until a guest of ours earlier today.
I learned that the original application had It's just a couple of questions. And if they like how you answer those questions, then you get put into the lottery. I didn't know that.
See, that's where I see the lawsuit risk.
Is that the part of the algorithm?
I
Kind
believe
of
so.
like,
Yes.
Yeah.
they have to like the question answers?
Yeah. That's what I've been
What?
told.
Yeah, that seems kind of weird. I have to, and we were looking at the website, and there's information on there, but it's not final, right? That those are draft regulations,
Exactly.
so those could change
Emergency
before
regs.
September.
Yep.
So people have to keep up with that. Anything that surprised you? You've been involved in social equity in the industry for a while. You've seen things.
Surprising, I wouldn't say. I mean, honestly, some of the insights just from here, very common struggles across the board. I thought I'd have a lot of disparate struggles, from our SEA applicants, but it's very simple. Just how do we understand the regs? It's confusing. How can you help us set up a business plan? Access to capital. It's the same reinforcing of, the struggles that we're here to provide. Now, the regulations, they are still working their way through. The MCA, Office of Social Equity, they're coming up to speed right now. From my understanding, they just signed on or they hired their executive director of social equity. So really excited to see what comes of that.
Macro, micro, dispensary, processor, delivery, cultivation, understanding the market structure and being involved for a while. What do you see as the best opportunity? Where are you putting your $5,000? You got to tell them. You can't keep it to yourself.
This is a question I get all the time. And it's like, I'm never going to recommend, well, where would I put my money? I put my money, at the root of it all, cultivation. That's what I really,
cultivation.
That's what I
Okay.
believe in. It's a high, it takes a lot of cost to get into it.
Very
But at the end of-
capital intensive.
Very capital intensive. But if you do it the right way, you are going to be the hub for the rest of the industry.
Exactly.
Now, when people ask me, where should I, what part of the market should I get into? It's really, what is your passion? What are you good at? Are you good at cultivating? Do you understand how to do that? If not, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Yep, that's one of the pillars of the GA training, and so I got that certification a couple of years ago. One of the most important things that you can have is enthusiasm for the plant. And so if you're really enthusiastic about dabs and you just love to press rosin, and maybe you should go toward that extraction processor license. If you really like to cultivate that. If you are in hospitality or you a retail owner of other businesses, I see a lot of gas station owners trying to get in as our clients because they have that retail background. I'm like, well, dispensary might be what is right for you. And then sometimes it's ancillaries. It's like, I really like building soil. And so you should maybe create a soil company. And that's actually American Cannabis Company is another consultancy. They make Sohum soil, which is a fascinating ancillary on an ancillary because they can consult with you on how to do like an application and then sell you a bag of dirt.
And what I was trying to get at is, I actually kind of forgot what I was trying to get at.
The point is,
but
there's no point to be made.
Yeah, there's different business opportunities.
Yes.
And cultivation might be lacking in Maryland right now, I imagine. And there's probably sufficient retail in Arizona. There's a tremendous amount of cultivation and a good amount of retail, depending who you ask. California, there's different things. It seems to me that probably like cultivation is probably a little bit lacking in Maryland compared to dispensary. I really don't know. And it has to be a market analysis. Kind of has to be done by industry experts who are looking at it and working with you to make a determination. And you can do it yourself, but you have to kind of understand what you're getting into.
Exactly. Understanding, having data, having analysis. We have an FP&A team in-house that will help sift through some of this to give you analysis on maybe what is the best direction to go. We have a real estate team that will go in and look at the jurisdictions where there may be social equity, availability. We'll see what makes the most sense. But to your point, it's really identifying where the best opportunity is and what your passion is.
Yeah, the passion is I think, the key.
It's the key. It's always the
You're
key.
talking about a highly regulated industry. And you're coming from California sometimes. We can talk about the saturation of that industry and how challenging it can be. So if you really don't love it, man, there's so many reasons why you'd give up because they're going to throw new regulations at you tomorrow. I mean, think about it. You've been slogging away for 3 years, and that's about how long it takes for the IRS to catch up to you to audit.
Yeah.
And so then you get that in the mail, and it's like, oh, man. So if you really have that love or that enthusiasm for that particular area of the plant, it'll keep you going.
Yeah.
It's something we haven't talked about, and you guys can help, discuss this one-on-one with any social applicants who work with you. And it's purely speculative. But, say if you're investing your grandma's money, rather than borrowing somebody's money, and you want to get into cultivation or dispensaries, we have two mysterious tidal waves coming 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line, the Amazon type business model, because that's what the consumers and the patients want.
Yeah.
Easy access to cannabis, which might impact your retail and the interstate commerce of manufactured goods, products, and cultivations, which is definitely going to impact all cultivations and manufacturings across the country.
Yep.
So you have these two mysterious, inevitable tidal waves, because they happen even in liquor, and they will happen. They might have taken 50, 60, 70 years.
Oh, yeah.
But it happens. I think it's less than 10 years away.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at investing your time, your money, your effort, you better be sitting with individuals. Tom can, and I can speculate about our thoughts all day long. But what would you guys say to a social equity applicant who sat with you and said, what about these two crazy things that Dimitri's talking about?
Yeah. These are great points. Melvina, do you want to
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, because
I'm thinking about my answer.
Yeah, this is something I think about all the time. Having come from the world of finance, mergers and acquisitions, understanding the markets. It's like, yes, there are two major tidal waves coming, so get in now, start your business now, create your moat, or create the opportunity for acquisition. Because to your point, once federal legalization comes, which looking at some of the economic headwinds could come sooner rather than later, we are going to see big pharma and the beverage, alcohol, and tobacco come in.
Yeah.
Philip Morris,
Maybe.
Constellation
maybe.
Brands,
They're
all,
ready.
Lagunitas Brewing, they're looking at it.
I like
They're
to say
ready.
just big money.
And what they can do is they can come in and acquire, and they can give access to the market to the way you're saying, because they can operate at losses for decades if they need to, because they're heavily capitalized, diversified conglomerates. And
Everybody's out of business.
well,
Just
no.
push the price down. But
Sounds like some of the MSOs.
That's why you come in now and you build your own brand.
I agree.
And people will believe in you and love you, because
Right.
we have big major grocery store chains all around. I still like to go to the small market.
right.
Yeah.
That's what people are going to resonate with, authenticity.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that is the key to having a thriving business
Yeah.
anyway. And it's getting your base, getting in now while it's hot, and doing your thing, and then planning for what we're explaining to you. And then you're marketable. You can probably ask for what you want, because they're coming in big and heavy at that point. So I agree with what
You
you're saying.
never know what's going to happen. Look at Jack from the Titanic. You get on that ship and the world changes.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, that didn't end well for him. Right?
Yes, but the one thing that you can't export, and so like if you're Philip Morris or big weed, glass house brands, for example, in California, just exporting a whole bunch of it, that's not local. And so I am going to go try to find a local beer. And then it's going to be the same thing. And so I think in the future, you're going to have a wonderful craft industry that's going to have local flavor, and then maybe big weed being sold at Walmart. But you have to understand that license for that Walmart weed doesn't exist. Now, a liquor license for that retail, that does exist. How long that's going to take, or if it even will, because the dispensary owners could come together and start lobbying. It's like, no, we got enough. We got enough.
Right.
And that may also be a thing. As money is earned and it becomes more tolerated and accepted, then they can, just like any other industry, pool their money and buy people in Washington to make laws that work for them.
Or the local legislatures.
Or the local legislatures, especially on the retail
Protectionist.
level. Because, think about California is an unlimited, limited market state. How many dispensaries will be in that city? They get to set that. And so I don't know if your cataclysmic production is going to come true with like this tidal wave of prices and interstate commerce everywhere. I think it's going to cataclysmic. I mean, I think there's the hemp market's still in shambles, and so I think there's going to be interesting changes, and so maybe like that's something that be okay with change as an entrepreneur. Be ready for creating a new plan tomorrow, because it might be a new world tomorrow.
Right. And by the way, I don't see it as cataclysmic, just because I mean I'm also an industry advocate.
Yeah.
And I also just try to push the right ideas. So non-protectionist measures are the right ideas. Freedom, patient access, competition, opportunity. This is what the patients and the consumers want. So they want to be able to get brands from California. They want to be able to get weed from Jamaica, from Hawaii, from California easily, as well as Maryland. So as an industry advocate, I just want to let people know out there how I stand. I see it as a very positive thing, and that's going to be an unfortunate reality for those who invest too much money in models that aren't going to work well.
Yeah.
But any industry that develops should be ultimately developed around the patient and the consumer.
Exactly.
Sorry, so I just got to get in my
Exactly.
soapbox for a second.
I also like the community.
The community.
The cannabis it's one of the most local industries I've ever been in. And like I was coming from the banking industry, and it's not really local, even though there's community banks, and those were my clients. But with cannabis, like it starts at the zoning, it starts at like even the social equity regulatory framework they put together. They're looking for specific people to give them the licenses to do a specific thing. And that community component it's not transferable because like what's going on here in Baltimore is not going on in Houston.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. But I still think there's something to say about that local grower
Yeah.
and that local dispensary who has the taste, the potency that I want, and you can commercialize it all you want to. I am going to always go there to get my cannabis. I think there's something to say to that too.
You know, I owned a cannabis club in Spain, 2017 and 2019. And I thought it was fascinating what was happening there because there was all these local Spanish growers, but everybody wanted California weed.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the Mecca.
there's all these Portugal growers.
Yeah.
You had it's in glass cases and it's really deli style. Everybody wanted California weed.
There's a
So,
reason.
you know, personally, if somebody asked me what I want Jamaica, you know, or Hawaii, and I don't see a lot of
South
people
Africa.
asking for Illinois weed or Arizona weed long term.
Well, there's a difference. Like you can go to my small town of Peoria, Illinois, and there's like 4 or 5 local breweries. And that's what I think is we need to really set up with. These are cultivation operations that would probably be square footage canopy for bloom space of 10,000 or less, making only about 6,000 pounds a year. And most of that stuff would be sold near where it was grown. That's great. I like, but then the terroir. And so like, I like Humboldt sun-grown. I wish I could go buy some Humboldt sun-grown. And then I love SoCal, like hydro, the stuff that they do, the stuff that they wanted in Spain.
Yeah.
That's great. That's like bargain weed because you can smoke half of it and it gets you twice as high.
Put me in charge, rub my belly, and I'll make your wishes come true.
Is that did I just make a deal with the devil? Yeah.
It's a genie thing.
It's a genie
I
thing.
want
Ah.
interstate commerce as quickly as possible.
I'd say for social equity applicants, real quick, the only constant in life is change. So how do you adapt to the change? You know, the optionality that we're going to get when, you know, big money comes in, when there's federal legalization is going to be great. But to your point, to your guys' point, that craft option, that local option is always going to be great.
Yep.
So the social equity applicants, now is still a great time, and we're here to help.
Exactly.
Because either you're going to develop your brand and you're going to be that great mom and pop option, or you're going to have a great business and a great exit.
Yeah. A
Excellent.
good legacy.
Those are some good closing thoughts. Any closing thoughts from you?
Now, I think that it's very, very important for you to understand compliance.
Yeah.
Follow the rules. We are here to help. You're not expected to know, but there are people who know that are willing to help you.
Yeah.
That's very
I
important.
love it.
I'm not here to help. He's here to help.
Okay.
I'm just here to complain about the Prohibition 2.0, Drug War 2.0.
Not
I
us.
don't like it.
We're educating. We're helping.
it is.
Always.
We're contributing to the culture. And so thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming on
Thank
and
you, guys.
sharing some information on this collaboration between Cannabis Legalization News and MITA Unshackled. We'll have more information about what's going on in Maryland cannabis industry shortly.
Thanks.